So there is this place called Valparaiso. In this town, there's a lot of street art.
And what kind of like images can you find there?
It can get quite wild, actually. So you can find a giant fish in jeans.
Oh, hell yeah.
Or an
Oh, I love that.
overly flirtatious grandma.
Okay, I need to know what an overly flirty grandma looks like. I'm kind of scared. I'm not gonna lie, but I want to see that fish with trousers, man. It looks so cool. I wish I was a fish with trousers. Welcome everybody to a new exciting episode of the Connected by Language Podcast, your one-stop shop for anything culture, world travel, and language related. I'm your host Michele, and I'm joined by my co-host
Michelle.
So, for the people that are like joining in for the first time, maybe I think it should be a good time to tell us a little bit about ourselves, what we're all about, and what's our story.
Yeah, so my name is Michelle. I'm German, and I speak German, English, Spanish, and French. And I work as a language education specialist at Tandem.
Ooh, what is a tandem?
So Tandem is an application, a mobile application where you can exchange languages with native speakers. So you can find native speakers from all over the world. You can connect to them and then have a talk in calls, in a chat, and also in so-called language parties. So those are audio rooms where you speak in groups.
Oh, yeah. I've been using Tandem myself to kind of brush up on my Japanese. My levels are still not very high, but I mean, I'm having a great time meeting people and like kind of having some really nice, funny moments of people trying to speak Italian and me trying to speak Japanese. It's kind of like crazy, but I think it's time for me to give a little bit of my introduction. Hi, my name is Michele. I'm from Italy. I speak Italian, French, English, and a little bit of Japanese. And I'm sort of like a nut when it comes to learning about different cultures, learning about different countries, and kind of like want to see how the world is, like how many ways the world can express itself and why so many countries are so special. And this makes me wonder because I was editing the episode for our second episode for Mexico. And one thing kind of jumped into my mind while I was doing it.
Which one was it?
So he was saying that like once you learn your Latin American side of Spanish, you kind of like get it everywhere, or like they're pretty similar altogether, the cultures. Would you agree with a statement like that?
It depends a bit. I guess there are some differences.
Yeah, I mean, because I kind of was interested in learning more because I kind of think that a lot of different cultures can have very different roots and that therefore have different differences. Of course, there's a lot of similarities because they're all close to each other. But I wanted to kind of continue my Latin American adventures. And I think I stumbled across our next stop for today's episode, which is the country of Chile.
Nice. So for all the English speakers out there, that would be Chile for you. But we use Chile, which is the Spanish version, and you speak Spanish in Chile, so we will call it Chile.
Yeah, I'm so used to saying Chile anyways. I didn't even know that in English you say Chile. Like, to me, that sounds kind of weird. It's like, missing the E, man. The E is so important. Is it really that hard to say an E, like in English speaking?
But E in English is E, so it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it is an E. You're right. It is an E. So yeah, well, like, let's explore a little bit about what makes Chilean culture so special.
Yes, so actually it's a mix of indigenous heritage, also modern parts and colonial influences.
I see.
And you have very different traditions in Chile. We said we wanted to call it Chile, yeah. Now I gotta switch to the Spanish name. And they seem to really like animals. So this is the first part that we want to talk about, because there are some idiomatic expressions in the Chilean Spanish which connect to animals or which contain animals. For example, if someone is saying pasándalo chancho, which literally would mean like having a pig of a time.
Wait, a pig of a time?
Yes. But it actually means that you're having a really good time.
Okay.
Enjoying your time.
I mean, like at first I was like, a pig? That doesn't sound like that positive or negative. Like it's, someone like a pig is kind of like dirty and like in a farm, but I guess like a pig can have a great time,
I guess so
I mean,
too.
I guess they know how to party. But speaking of animals, like not only in the language you can see this also like connection to animals, but also in the way they dance. Of course, we're in Latin America, the place where a lot of dances exist everywhere you go, and Chile has its own national dance, the cueca. The cueca as a dance is a pretty similar dance as to what you would find in something like Colombia that we have done in a previous episode. But the idea of it, the origin of it, is actually kind of interesting because it has to symbolize the courtship between a rooster and a hen.
Okay.
So if you wanted to kind of simulate your life as being two birds falling in love, that is the best place for you. And you can see this sort of dance in your classical celebration, and it's the most authentic way to express the cultural roots of Chile through the form of dance.
Okay. And what else makes the difference between Chilean culture and the other Latin American?
So this is the funny thing. Like I was kind of like going around through some like subreddits and like understanding some people like other people from Chile compared to other places, and I found something that I didn't think about it at first, but now it makes a ton of sense. Chile is more known in the world of Latin America as being kind of like the shire of the countries. It has a rate of people that are introverts a little bit higher than other countries, even though like again we're in Latin America, so it's not like there's definitely countries that are way more introverted culturally, but compared to them, like expressions and like familiarity are obtained a little bit more difficultly. And this reminds me of a time where I was working back in Rome. I was working for like an Erasmus bar inside of universities, and there was this group of Chilean friends that were all joining in for an Erasmus for 6 months. And while I'm someone that like starts to chat with people, start to make jokes and kind of learn, and that's how I got to like love the idea of different cultures. I have to admit that I had a little bit of assumptions that since they were from Chile, they would be very like open-minded. At the time, I kind of brushed it off as like people being introvert because some people are introverts, some people are not. But I think that's like, it's not as uncommon as I thought it was going to be.
Okay. Actually, one other difference to other Latin American countries is also the emphasis on education to have kind of a social mobility in the end. So they invest a lot into education. They have a really high focus on academic achievements. And yeah, it just distinguishes Chile from some of Chile. From some
It's gonna be a long hours.
From some of the other Latin American countries here.
Oh, okay. So I guess people, instead of like going out and having fun, they just hitting the books inside their universities, which is respectable. It's like we're gonna see that like a lot of this like focus on education is paying off a lot in a lot of different avenues. But that's for later.
Yeah, and we should remember it's not everybody, like it's not every Chilean person, of course. But yeah, in general, the culture.
Yeah. But what about like something like more deep about what actual Chilean culture originated from? Maybe like some sort of like group that maybe not a lot of people know about.
Exactly. So the largest indigenous group of Chile is the Mapuche, which is the people of the land. And they primarily reside in south central regions of the country. And this rich cultural heritage continues also to influence today's society of Chile.
Oh, okay. And do they have their own language or something?
Yes, they do. So it's Maputungun, which is the traditional language of the Mapuche. And there's effort in revitalizing it, in preserving it. And if you want to be part of it, you can also actually practice it on Tandem.
Wait, what? You can?
Yes.
That's insane.
So that's the nice thing. There are a lot of indigenous languages too that you can practice on the app. So
that is awesome.
If you're interested, just have a look there.
Yeah, I guess I know a lot of people that are like interested in learning some very niche languages. So I guess this is your calling card to start learning. Wait, I'm gonna try and read it myself again. Mapudungung. Oh my God, Mapudungung. Without the G at the end. I'm gonna put it on screen for the people that are watching so they can see how it's actually written, because this is very difficult to pronounce. But the Mapuche people actually have some very interesting belief system that I think are very similar to other episodes that we cover so far, specifically the episode about Nepal that we did. If you haven't seen, Nepal was all about taking nature and putting spirituality as some sort of like element that you cannot tamper with. It's about having the cosmic balance. The Mapuche people had something similar. It's called the Nyegen, not with an A, Nyegen. Nyegen is kind of similar in a sense that you take spirits that inhabit nature, and you kind of have to maintain harmony with them by celebrating and having like rituals. So it's a little bit more involved. The human is a little bit more involved compared to something like Nepal, but it is still about maintaining a good relationship with the nature near you. And it will make sense why later, because the places where these people were living are not easy to live in. They're very harsh. But if you manage to meet people from the Mapuche, specifically their artisan, there is one thing that I think everybody should definitely try.
Which one?
The Mapuche is known for their silver jewelry. That's like their major thing. Very heavy chains, a lot of like flat sheets of metal on your ears and on your neck. It's like, it is incredible the amount of craftsmanship that they put behind their element. And this is like traditional style. We're talking about way before the modern era. Like, we're gonna find out a lot of very old remnants of history, but it's definitely I think the highlight of their craftsmanship. But you can also have some textile elements and some woodwork. The sky is limitless, but please, the silver jewelry, that's your go-to.
And it already sounds like an interesting fact that not everybody might know. So let's get to some fun facts here.
Okay, that's my favorite part of any show.
Yeah, so maybe some of you know that Chile is the longest country in the world, actually. It stretches over 4,270 kilometers.
A lot. That's a lot of kilometers. Holy bloody hell.
And it's from north to south. So it's a really, really thin country, but a long one. That makes it the longest country globally.
And the ability to be such a long country also means that you have a lot of very different environments, and also you have a very big variety in things that are below the ground. In fact, Chile does have the oldest recorded mummy ever conceived. In fact, the Chonchoro mummies that come from the northern side of Chile, in the Atacama Desert specifically, date from years about 50 before Christ.
Wow.
To put it into perspective how insane this is 2 millennia before the Egyptians, man. The birth, the thing that you assume mummies with, that they have it 3,000 years, 2,000 years before. That's insane, man. So the desert is a very important spot, not only for history, but also for for modern modern exploration, you would say, because Chile is one of the few countries in the world that has a fully government-funded UFO research facility. And it might sound crazy, but let me tell you, those skies, especially in the desert, are very clear, and they're very, very, very susceptible to being explored. So I can definitely understand why. But again, we're going to talk about it further.
And there's one more fact we have for you, which is about food this time, and drinks. Yeah. So there is a midday snack that Chileans have, which is called once.
Once.
Once means 11.
Yeah, 11. I was about to say it's 11. So it's 11 a.m.
Actually not. Unlike the name, it is served between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. So
okay. I don't know why it's then called once. I guess it's kind of similar to the Italian aperitivo, sort of a get together, kind of like a tea time situation.
Yeah, I mean, you could compare it a bit to the tea time. They also serve tea, bread, and different pastries at that time.
I mean, Chile has so much diversity in the way that people live their life, but especially their landscape. In fact, Chile, despite being an extremely narrow country, you'd be surprised how many different biomes you can find there. But I think the most known one, especially if you're someone that likes to do a little bit of climbing or a little bit of trekking, is Patagonia. Yeah, everybody knows about the Patagonia. It is between Chile and Argentina, and it's like a very vast set of rugged terrains, glacial fjords, and like vast steppes, and it's like one of the places with the harshest climate. So it is kind of like a spot that has been signifying for a long time about about resilience and about like being deeply connected with a land that seemingly is kind of like out to get you. It's not like in the Colombia sense where like there's crazy animals everywhere that are trying to kill you, but rather it is a very harsh environment where not a lot of things grow. So, and this is important to know because these sort of lands were occupied by, like we said before, people like the Mapuche, but they were not the only ones that were living there. We had populations like small tribes like the Tueleche and the Seikman, which also like communicated amongst themselves and with other tribes with very like difficult to translate oral tradition, and also with very interesting spiritual rituals to celebrate the land that they're on, despite the fact that, again, it's very harsh. It's very difficult to live in these lands. But there is a little bit of a secret weapon.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, during the 19th and 20th century, a new secret weapon introduced by European settlers came in, which is the power of sheep herding.
Okay, yeah. I did not expect that.
Yeah, like sometimes people associate like Latin America with like a lot of sheep or similar elements, but that's a very European lifestyle to add into the Latin American culture. And they have created with those indigenous people the estancias, which are the ranches. So if you see ranches on your trip to the Patagonia, that's probably something that came in a lot more recent than you think.
Okay. Well, one other thing that's quite important for people there is the community.
Of course.
So usually you can share a mate, which is a typical drink over there, like a herbal infusion, and share stories at the bonfire, like sitting around the fire, and it shows this social bond that they have as a community.
I've never had a mate before. How is it?
Yeah, it's quite bitter.
Bitter, I see.
You can get used to it. I mean, I guess it's a bit like getting used to coffee because it's also quite bitter in the beginning, but then you drink it.
That sounds really nice, you know. It sounds pretty nice. I mean, I've been looking to get myself some new drinks to try, so I'm gonna put that on my list.
And it's very different from the like club mate that you get here in bottles. Like nothing to do with the traditional
I was
mate.
About to ask because I don't like that drink either, so it's like I'm fine.
No, it's very different. There's also a whole tradition around it that you like one person serves the water, the hot water that will be filled into the mug, kind of, which is also called mate. Yeah, and then you pass it around and share the drink.
Oh, that's so nice. That seems a lot of fun.
Yes.
But, like, what does the Patagonia even mean, honestly?
So, the name Patagonia derives from Patagones, which is the name that European explorers gave to the people there because they believed they were giants.
What?
Yes, I don't know why exactly. Probably they were intimidating or really high in their height.
Stature. Or maybe like the lands are like something so whimsical it looks like giants are living in it, you know?
That could be the reason too. But yeah, and this misconception of them believing they're giants still adds an aura of mystery to this piece of land.
And speaking about mystery, there are also like some truly mysterious elements of this Patagonia like landscape, because if you're daring to go and travel to there, you can find La Cueva de las Manos.
Ooh.
The Cave of Hands. It's a very vast collection of hand stencils dating back to 9,000 years old.
Okay.
9,000. That's insane. Like,
it is really, really old.
yeah, like I can't even think of like any sort of like activity that is that old.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of like work of art can be preserved, so I guess that one was preserved too.
Yeah, but it's like since we're going to the world of like mystery and harsh elements, I think there is a very important part that we mentioned before. A little bit of a more arid part of part of the town, I guess.
Exactly, and that's the Atacama Desert. So this is the driest non-polar desert in the world.
Okay.
Yeah, and some areas actually never recorded any rainfall.
Any
They-
zero?
yeah,
Like in like a million, like 2 billion years? No, non-zero rate? That's insane. There's no way.
Apparently not.
There's no way. I get.
Uh,
Wow.
Yeah, and this extreme aridity has created a unique ecosystem and also landscape. And there are the Atacameño people.
Okay.
So this is the name of the people there. They're also known as Likan Antai.
Likan and Thai.
Yes, and they developed a sophistical agricultural practices actually to cultivate crops like maize and also quinoa over there. And they used like this terrace farming and the irrigation. They have invented some of that.
Wow, that's a lot of like different techniques. And honestly, I don't know how I would survive there. Honestly, that's like very, very like, how do you even survive in a place this harsh?
I mean, it's also quite cool because their settlements had been a hub of cultural exchange, so people could like gather there and have cultural exchange, and they had a lot of like spiritual practices too.
Okay.
So they held a deep reverence for nature again. So we have this topic here again for natural elements. They're honoring Pachamama, which is Mother Earth, and also some celestial bodies.
Okay.
And those ceremonies often involve music, dancing, offerings to just keep the balance of the harmony between nature and humans.
Yeah, I guess it's like it's incredible to see how many different cultures also take like this nature and like they try to appease it like as a spiritual belief. We've seen it almost everywhere in the world, and I think it's one of the few things that like can truly like be the ancestor to everything, kind of. But you said something that was kind of interesting. You said about the skies, right? You said about the stars. Yeah, because the very important thing about these regions is they're very clear skies. Since there's no rain, there's no clouds. And you know what that means? In the night, you get the one, if not the clearest skies that you can have for any sort of astrological watching. And even in the olden times, before like practical tool, the people there used astronomy as a great tool to kind of like use it for navigation and also for agricultural planning. And it's a tradition that still continues today. And if you're like an astronomer or into looking at some stars, there's still some very important events in this region where the top astronomers come in to look at the stars and kind of this like explore as much as possible about the wonders of the beyond. And speaking of beyond, actually, there's another advantage of this place. As you said, it's one of the driest, if not the driest place in the world. And you know what that means? A lot of sand, a lot of rough terrain. And there is suspiciously another planet that kind of behaves similar to this. Can you guess which planet it is?
Well, it's probably Mars then.
Yeah, it is Mars. Yes. So Mars and this desert, they do share a lot of similarities. So it's been NASA has been using this place as a testing ground for a lot of their technological rovers or launches, just to simulate the life and the experience of Mars. So maybe Mars is not as far as we think.
Yeah, quite smart of NASA to use this place there.
Yeah.
We have one last place we want to share some interesting insights with you, which are the Easter Islands.
Wait, the Easter Island? Those are in Chile?
Yeah.
Oh.
They belong to Chile.
Okay. I mean, you always think that like they're a very far away island. So.
They are. They are over 3,500 kilometers away from mainland Chile.
That is a lot.
Yeah. And those Easter Islands are also called Rapa Nui.
Rapa Nui.
And there are renowned for their typical statues. So they have these moai statues that you can find there. You'll probably see it on every single photo as soon as you type Easter Island.
I mean, but can you blame them? Come on, they look phenomenal. Like, I think it's, in my opinion, it's a personal opinion, one of the most wonderful like creations in the human history. Like, it's insane how like weird and experimental, but also like significant spiritually it is.
It is, and you said the magical word again, the spirituality.
I kind of guessed it, I guess.
Yes, so they were carved between the 13th and the 16th century, and they were created to honor the ancestors and the chiefs of those communities living there. And they were positioned on these ceremonial plateaus called Ahu.
Ahu.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Moai are believed to embody some spiritual power or mana that you might know. And they're watching over the island's inhabitants.
I see. And I mean, they are going to watch over the inhabitants. They should, because like, if there's one place that the Rapa Nui is known for, is some of the most unique festivals that they do, or like unique traditions. The main one that you would probably get to experience during February is the Tapati Rapa Nui festival.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful, I know, it's a mouthful, but it is a festival that takes place in February, and it celebrates the entirety of the island's, culture through mostly activities and sports, music, and dance. There is one sport in particular that I think a lot of the audience might be very interested in trying for themselves. It's called Hakape. And what Hakape is like, okay, just forget anything that you know about bobsliding, taking your little wooden thing and going down snow. Like, you haven't seen sliding until you find the Hakape, because they take it from a different notch. They go on banana trunks. You wanted to ride banana trunks?
Wow.
I want to ride banana trunks now. I want to do that. That seems fun as hell. Very dangerous, don't get me wrong, but it sounds very fun. So yeah, they have a very unique race with banana trunks. But they also have another festival, kind of similar, like in the similar area, which involves a very interesting ritual. This festival is another festival that the island has is very interesting, because it is a festival to gain status. It's not about celebrating culture. It's about you being better than your tribesmen. And to do it, you have to go to a nearby island and get yourself the first egg of the season. Only after you retrieve this egg and you bring it safe here, only then you can be considered better than your peers. So I don't know if you're up for the challenge. I don't know if everybody can get to do this sort of ritual often. But, if you manage to get an egg from one of those islands, congratulations, you're now the man. You're the man. Congrats.
But maybe as a tip, if you're there as a tourist, don't steal the eggs.
I don't think you should. I don't think that's a very good idea. I think we can let him there. But I mean, if somebody has the egg, you can tell that's the man. that's the guy.
And the Easter Islands are home to some more mystical things.
Oh, wow.
So there's the Rongo script. And it's not confirmed, but it could be one of the few independent scripts that has developed independently in the world.
God.
Yeah, it's actually just a system of undeciphered glyphs. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow, that's insane. Like, how it would be very difficult to completely develop an entire language completely on your own without external communication, because again, most languages learn from communicating between different tribes, but these islands are so remote.
Yeah.
Do you really need to communicate that well if you're on a small island like that? That's very interesting. But I think we've been a little bit more over the ancient part of Chile. I think we should maybe go into something a little bit more modern. How did the Chilean culture translate into the real, not to the real world. We are in the real world. I'm talking about the present.
The present, okay. So, for example, with the help of art.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's explore Chilean art.
Yeah, so actually there's one more fact, a bit about the past, but not as far away.
Okay.
So Chilean art in general is used for like social or to express socially and politically what's going on in the country. And in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there was actually a lot of art, or the art was the medium to comment on resistance of what was going on politically.
I see.
And there are artists like Gonzalo Diaz who used their work to confront the state violence at that time. And in 1989, his installation Lonquen 10 años memorized like victims of political repression. And also there was kind of a moment of pivoting in the art because before the art was a lot about fear.
I see.
And after that, more about truth-telling.
Wow, that's a very big change, And I mean, art is an extremely powerful tool, no matter how you slice it. And even to this day, like there is something about this sort of art that has been seeping into the everyday Chilean lifestyle, specifically about using social spaces as a way to communicate with your people. Which is something that not a lot of places do. There's like not a lot of places like museums. Like we usually have the museums or the gallery, like a very simplified space, one canvas. While in Chile, it's a lot more expensive. And in fact, like Chile has a little bit of an obsession lately. Art-wise, they have an obsession with giant sculptures.
Okay.
Yeah, going for something a little bit more lighthearted. If you go to Santiago, you can find a myriad of like different everyday objects, animals, like folklore elements, all in these massive statues that you can just visit, that you can climb, you can take pictures. And it's so funny because like you may walk around and you find like a giant rubber ducky near you and you're like, wow, how did it get here? It's so massive. Who even made this? And this Chilean like obsession with giant sculpture took a whole new level.
Okay.
So in 2019, this Chilean fast food restaurant called Domino, which is not the same as Domino's Pizza. Don't get it confused. They do something completely different. They made a massive, and I'm talking about massive, statue of their, signature Chilean dish known as the completo.
The completo. I had this one.
Oh, you did?
Yes, when I was in Chile. So you can describe it as a hot dog.
Oh,
but the name over there is completo. And do you know what a completo italiano is?
Wait, what you mean completo italiano?
Yeah.
Oh, be careful about what you're going to say next. Otherwise, I'm going to go in defensive Italian stereotype mode.
No, the good thing, it doesn't have to do with the Italian country. It just has to do with the Italian flag.
Okay, that makes it more sense.
Yes. So they use ingredients in the colors of red, white, and green, which is actually tomato, mayonnaise, and avocado.
Okay.
Yes. So this is why I call it completo italiano.
Okay, I thought I was gonna have like a moment of defensiveness. Oh, I dodged a bullet there.
There can't be any Italian dish you don't know. So.
Oh, probably. I mean, I don't want to know. I'm gonna be honest. Let me be blind. I'm gonna cover my eyes and ears about this sort of stuff. But I mean, as we said before, like art in Chile is very like open spaces and like government, like a way for governments and people to talk to them. So there is, as you already told me before the show, another place that has very interesting, arts, I guess.
Absolutely. So there is this place called Valparaiso.
Valparaiso.
Yes. So it's a town. The name, it's also referred to as Valpo.
Okay.
And the name consists of two parts, of Val from valley, and
Okay.
Paraiso, which means paradise.
Paradise. Paradiso is the same also in Italian. So
Yeah.
I kind of figure out that one out.
Exactly. So in this town, there's a lot of street art. So they use a lot of the murals and everything around you, like the houses and the walls, to express themselves again. with graffitis, with paintings. It's quite interesting.
Okay.
It emerged kind of as a protest during the Pinochet era.
Okay.
And when artists risked persecution to express dissent through their murals and graffitis.
Okay.
And today, Valparaiso street art is very much celebrated.
Okay. And what kind of like images can you find there?
Yeah, so there is, for example, it can get quite wild actually. So you can find a giant fish in jeans, for example.
Oh hell yeah.
Or an
I love that.
overly flirtatious grandma.
Okay, I need to know what an overly flirty grandma looks like. I'm kind of scared. I'm not gonna lie, but I want to see that fish with trousers, man. I can already imagine it in my mind. It looks so cool. I wish I was a fish with trousers.
Yeah, but they're also very cool ones and very like deep in the meaning. So it's not only wild ones. So it's really worth it to go there and have a look at them.
Yeah, and I mean, look, like as we said it before, we had talked in the episode about the overall connection with Chilean culture and education, and I don't think there's a better example of the spoken or like the written part of Chilean culture than talking about Pablo Neruda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pablo Neruda, the Nobel laureate, is a towering figure in not only Chilean culture, but the entirety of Latin American poetry. His life has been going through so many different directions and so many different themes, but he has had the possibility to not only talk about his personal feelings, but also get involved in the political side of Latin America. So he has been kind of like becoming a beacon of the representation of the struggles and the aspirations of the Chilean people.
Yeah, and you already mentioned some of his themes there. So in his early works, he used a lot this theme of love and desire. And after that, he went more with nature and the sea. So he had kind of an obsession with that part.
Yeah, he has an obsession. Oh boy.
And then there was also a lot about political protest. So, for example, in his Canto General, he's referring to Latin America's history, injustice, but also the resistance there. And there's a fourth theme you can discover in his works, which is everyday objects.
Okay, that's kind of random.
That's a bit random here. But in some of his pieces, he poetically elevates like these objects, like, for example, onions, socks, or lemons.
An onion? I mean, look, onion is such an important ingredient.
It is.
Yeah, like it deserves all of the praise that he could get. Speaking of some like interesting elements about Pablo Neruda, he has a lot of houses.
Okay.
Yeah, he has a lot of houses that today are museums. After that, they became museums, but they are kind of like a testament on how eclectic and wild some of his tastes are. Like, for example, in one of the houses called La Chascona, I think, yeah, Chascona, he has a secret passage in one of his rooms that he uses to just like get out of uncomfortable situations, which is very interesting because if someone is like there's been like elements that he said that he would use it to escape conversations about politics in his house. But guess what, buddy? You're into politics, man. So it's like there's a little bit of a double standard here. But yeah, it has this secret passage that he takes whenever he feels that the conversation is a little bit harsh. He just like, bye, and he just goes for this secret passage. But there's another house which has a very interesting story itself, which is La Sebastiana. So La Sebastiana is a very interesting looking house. But inside of it, he simply decided to just have a merry-go-round, like, carousel horse.
Okay.
Yeah, he just has that as a you can see it is in the decoration in the living room. And he's actually reported in, like, some of his memories that he's the only piece of, like, anything that has never interrupted his thoughts, even once. So,
wow,
okay. Yeah, so a busy mind with a lot of things on his mind, at least he can rely on tiny little horse, wooden horse, to keep him company. And I said tiny, but it's not tiny, it's pretty big. But speaking of, you mentioned, and we mentioned already, that he's obsessed with the sea. And we cannot make we cannot tell this through. He's obsessed with the sea. Specifically, the entire Sebastiana was built specifically for him to live in the ocean, basically. And the house has been modeled after a boat, and it looks kind of like a lighthouse as well. It's insane how much love for the sea he has. And not only that, if you go inside his house, he has so many nautical antiques. It's insane. He has a lot figureheads. He has maps and bells taken from random other ships. His house is basically a museum of boats, and it's also a boat. Look like a boat. Wow.
Okay. I have the feeling we know a lot now about Pablo Neruda.
Especially about his love for sea.
Yes.
And I think we should kind of complete the trifecta of the arts. We've talked about the drawing. We talked about the literature. What is the third missing element, I guess?
Probably music?
Yeah, music, exactly. Chilean music has a lot of different inspiration points and different styles, but I wanted to highlight one artist in particular that has kind of like a Pablo Neruda's level of importance to the Chilean culture, and it's Violeta Parra.
Okay.
So Violeta Parra is a folk singer. It's a very old folk singer that he played a pivotal role into shaping the connection between old traditional songs and at the time newer and international audience. So what she would do is she would collect a lot of very old songs, translate them into Spanish, or if they were already translated into Spanish, and perform them with her guitar in front of a lot of different places. She traveled all around the world to show her artistry. And there's one in particular that I think is worth shouting it out, which is Gracias a la Vida, And Gracias a la Vida is basically an anthem for anything gratitude and resilience related. And it's been covered by a bajillion artists. If you know any Spanish artist, any Latin American artist, they probably covered this song at least once. It's that famous. But
for those who don't know Spanish, it's Thanks to Life.
Thanks to Life. Yeah.
Yes.
And this song specifically has been the progenitor of the Nueva Canción movement, of this the new song set of Chilean music that usually didn't get a lot of spotlight before. And it also has a lot of elements about, struggles or about political elements, but also about simple joys like motherhood, weaving, and even laughing with your friends.
Okay. And was the guitar the only instrument she played?
Kind of, because she did play guitar for most of her performances. But for one song, specifically for one performance, she just self-taught how to play harp perfectly.
Oh, wow.
But the issue is that she never played it again, citing that her manicure was getting ruined by the harp. So no more harp for me. Imagine being so good at using an instrument that you can learn it in one day, basically, and then completely give it up because of your manicure, which also it's a guitar now that I think about it.
Well, maybe the strings are a bit different to a guitar. There are more strings. Maybe they are a bit harder.
Yeah, I'm not a guitar player. I'm a piano player, and I also don't have manicures so I don't really know the struggles of hitting the nylon strings, but
So I wonder how this has influenced Chile's music of today, actually.
Yeah, and I think I know just the right person for the job. So let's introduce to the show a current Chilean singer and songwriter, Patricio.
Hi.
Nice. Would you like to tell us a bit more about yourself, about your personal journey and who you are?
Oh, okay. I am Patricio Alvarado. I am a Chilean singer-songwriter. I'm an artist as well. I mean, I do more than music because I've been into filmmaking. So I write scripts. I've been also directing a couple videos. I mean, I worked in theater as a playwright, director, and an actor for, I don't know, a while, for current 10 years or something.
Oh, wow. I mean, you have a very already extensive accolades. We already talked about how much Chilean art, how much different types of arts is in Chile. So I guess you're a very good representation of that.
I do things that I do because I love them. So I wouldn't say that I represent Chile. Maybe, of course, in a way I do, but also I think that what Michele said was very big. So I just added, let's say that.
I'm sorry. I listened to a lot of
Fine.
their songs and I thought they were very nice. So it's like I got a little bit of time to
Thank
catch
you.
up. I apologize.
So don't worry.
No, it's fine. Please.
You don't have to represent like the whole country now, but we'd be interested in like how you grew up in Chile and how it has maybe also influenced your identity today.
Well, I think it has been very important for my life, of course. Well, the thing here is that when I was 21 or 22 years old, I moved to Argentina. So I lived in Argentina. Now I'm in Chile, but I lived in Argentina for almost 20 years.
God.
Let's say that I have a huge Argentinian side to myself as well. Let's say that. But when it comes to identity, I can tell you guys that I'm a very Chilean person. For example, I speak like a Chilean person. I don't speak Argentinian at all. Maybe I did that a bit just with my Argentinian friends while I was back there in Buenos Aires, or when I talk to them. Some of that can come back a little bit. But yeah, I'm culturally, maybe I would say that I'm culturally diverse, but I don't know how to say that. But when we are talking identity, I'm very Chilean, yes.
Okay. And like what are parts of the Chilean that makes it like a little bit different from Argentina?
Well, by traveling the world, I've learned that we people from Chile and Argentina and maybe Uruguay, we're not that different.
Okay.
But when you live here in Latin America, you wouldn't say that we are too similar, like in the sense in which, even though, let's say that it is historical because Chile and Argentina, maybe we share a huge frontier, but at the same time, you have the mountain chain in the middle. So when roads and communication weren't that, like easy access, I think that our both cultures didn't blend too much, as you would find that in other places in Latin America. Even, for example, in the Argentinian frontier with Brazil, you would find some Argentinian people that are like a bit Brazilian, a bit Paraguayan. There's like a bit of melting pot there.
Okay.
But, like Chilean culture remained very different to cultures that are around the region here in South America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, but like the very interesting question is that I really talk about things like in Latin America, people don't usually jump to Chile first. They always go to like Brazil or they go to Colombia or Argentina. So it would be very interesting for the people that are interested in exploring Chile. Like if there are parts of Chilean culture that you think deserve more recognition or appreciation?
Well, definitely. I would say that Chile itself is a bit of a hidden gem, like in the sense that, I don't know, like in Latin America, you would find other countries and other cities that are way more flashy and they have, I don't know, like bigger press, international press, such as, I don't know, Ciudad de Mexico or even Buenos Aires that I live there and I love it. Don't get me wrong. But for example, as a hidden gem, Santiago de Chile is also like such a nice place. It's so rich culturally and you would be able to understand Chilean culture, Chilean language, the way we communicate, our sense of humor, which I think it's like a very special sense of humor. Like for example, there is, and especially because we're talking languages, there is this guy from Indonesia that he's a polyglot. I am always following, content from polyglots because I a bit of one myself, and I think it's like so interesting. And this guy got into learning Spanish, so he basically discovered Chilean language and Chilean sense of humor, and he got so into it that he came to live here for like a year or something like that. So he learned how to to speak Chilean, which is also like a very kind of different shape of Spanish. I would say that we have like a branch of Spanish, our accent and the way we speak, our specific way to speak. It's like very, it's kind of difficult for other people to understand, but and at the same time, it's so rich and full of, some specifically sense of humor that it's very,
Special.
it's a special. It's a special. And people from around the world, they discover it, they are always like thrilled by it.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Seeing like a humor as a sign to go to a different language, to a different country. It's very.
Yeah, maybe it's like similar. Just one thing, it's similar to when in English they told you that, and which is true, that British people have like a special sense of humor. Let's say.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Well, something like this.
Okay, yeah, nice. So we talked about humor. What about food, maybe? Like, are there any recommendation for Chilean recipes that people should try out?
Well, yeah, I heard you in the first part of the podcast that you were talking about completos, and that's huge here in Chile. Like people really like that recipe, and you talked about completo italiano, which is it is a specific type of hot dog we have.
Yeah.
But we have other completos, and maybe this is interesting to you that you're German, but completo actually, the original one is with chucrut.
Yeah, right.
And
the term of that would be sauerkraut.
I could.
Yeah.
That's right. You guys are making me hungry. Damn, man.
Well, I asked about the recipes. I'm sorry.
No, for him.
Well, and I think that we have like a bit of a German colony here in Chile, which I think originated in the, let's say, the end of the 19th century. So with you guys, we got some food, influence. So you would have that not only with maybe hot dog that have the sauerkraut, if I remember right.
Yes.
You have that, and you have some other type of sandwiches that are kind of inspired in German sandwiches and culture and things, So you have that, and people is consuming a lot of completos and these other types of sandwiches. They got very creative, and they have, it's like a culture of sandwiches and things, and how to twist them, and getting new recipes. So, like for example, with completo, which is like very funny, but the thing is that like the bread that hot dog has.
Yeah, the bun.
Yeah, the bun, correct. Then you would put a sausage there. That's a hot dog. But people in Chile from, I don't know, like I would say 20 years or 25 years from now, they started to get into putting meat instead of a sausage, right?
Okay.
That's not a completo anymore. That's an as. S. Okay.
Just A and S, like two.
Yeah, as. Yeah, two letters.
Okay.
Don't get confused. Don't put two.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, what happens when you put a second?
Assets.
Okay, we're good. Okay, never mind. Production, we're good. We don't have to keep.
Yeah.
But so, like, there's a lot of different like elements that I don't think a lot of people would even know. So, like, do you think that Chilean culture has been like represented correctly, or like has the reach that they should have?
I think no.
Okay.
I think that before the 2000s, Chile wasn't too worried about how to be represented outside Chile, So like it's like a bit of a new thing for us to be, like culturally represented around the world. And I guess that we got some cultural relevance and importance with the government of Salvador Allende, of course, and some culture that was around that political movement at the time. You already mentioned Violeta Parra and Pablo Neruda. Well, that's a bit of our leftist culture we have here. It's huge, it's important, it's identitarian. And they, in the 60s, in the 50s and the 60s especially, they kind of started to build like a cultural identity here in Chile. There were intellectuals thinking about this. And, like Violeta Parra is a huge artist here. Not only her, like there are many others. Of course, you would know about Victor Jara, who was also like a Nueva Canción person, very important. I don't want to get too political because, I want to keep it like audience friendly here, but they have also like huge songs that are political songs, and people is using them now because of, I don't know, like the situation of peace, Like Victor Jara wrote this song, which is very important for like many countries, which is called El Derecho de Vivir en Paz, which means the right of living in peace. So that's a very important song, and
Very to the point.
and especially for these moments in the world in which we have like some conflicts around. But yeah, also that. So there you have, and then we have in the 70s, we have a dictatorship here in Chile, which is also like very well known. But I think that many of those artists that were around, they started to, let's say, they went into exile. Let's put it like this, because that's truth. And more of them went to Europe, and some of them went to the United States, or intellectuals that were around. So then, yeah, at that time, like Chilean culture started to be more known internationally. But I wouldn't think that ever before the 2000, any government went into putting together some effort to get Chile to be known around the world. Like Chileans kind of didn't care much about it.
Okay. So let's concentrate on this aspect that you were talking about. So music and then the language behind it. And we know from before the show that you have written songs in English and Italian.
Yeah.
So how was that for you? How was writing songs in different languages, not your mother tongue, for you? And maybe also like sharing emotions and stories in your music.
Well, yeah, I would say that it a bit of a consequence on how my life has gone, like, and yeah, also like my music. I mean, I was mostly doing theater up to when I was 28 years old. I also like doing music, but I was composing my own songs but then I went into like a very difficult moment for me, because my career wasn't like having many sense, or being an artist is basically whenever you are it's fun whenever you are around the world. It's so I was like kind of not knowing exactly where I was heading to, and it was like a difficult moment. I also like have a breakup with a girlfriend that I had at the time, and in this very moment I get to go to Denmark, for a yes. I went to Denmark for a, let's say, what was that? It was like a artist residence, right? Ooh, so I was required to create, a performance that I was trying to put together. And I had the opportunity to go to this amazing place, which is called Odin Teatret, which is famous and is led by a very important Italian director. I was there and I was like also doing this, but at the same time I had like so many things to say that I started to write songs. And all those songs that I wrote at the time were like, I was trying to figure it out, what's my life and stuff. Okay, so and also things that were happening to me at the time. And but there I met this girl from Italy, and I went to Italy and together for a while. So while I was there in Italy, I was living in Italian, and also when I was there in Denmark, I was like kind of living in English. So because of that, I started writing a song in Italian. So that was like why I started writing in different languages, other than Spanish, which is my native language. And then time passed, and I kept myself writing in Spanish because it's what makes sense for you when you're writing. You mostly will be writing in your native. It's something difficult, and you have to, have some sort of sense on what you're saying, and it's difficult sometimes to make sense of a song if you're not native to the language. So, but then, all these years I've been using English so much, and, like that recently, like a year from now or something like that, it came up to me like another song in English, and I thought it was beautiful. Some people have told me that the song was beautiful, even if, like for an English native speaker. So I decided to put it together. I wasn't so sure if my English singing was right, but it turned out that people liked the song, actually. So
we've talked a lot about music now, and we would like to ask you some more questions about the language part. How did you actually first discover Tandem? And what has your journey been like ever since you started exchanging languages there?
I have to say that I love Tandem. I think that it's an amazing app. And yeah, I love it. it has bring so many things to my life. Actually, it's I have really lived many things, and things are some are tandem related. I don't know if I explained it well in English, but
No,
yeah.
I
Well,
mean, we're very excited to see those, like what sort of experience people might might see themselves if they're getting tandem for themselves, you know.
thing is that in 2018, I did a stop motion project that's still going on. It's in production now, but at that time it was like in development, and I got into this sort of market festival, like in a competitive side of this festival, in which we were supposed to pitch our stop motion projects, and you would get the prize, a grant, if you won first up or second, place in the competition. This was in Poland, in this city called Lodz. What?
No, I like this thing. You're going from Denmark to Italy to Poland now. Like, you're going everywhere in the world, man.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Up to a point, I was traveling a lot. So yeah, that was in Poland. So I went there. It was very exciting. But anyways, the thing was that when I get into the competition, I realized my English wasn't good enough. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was able to speak in English and whatever, but I realized that I really wasn't in the sweet spot to be able to sell a project like this, and I was the second to enter the stage. And the first one was this Polish guy, that his English was perfect and his project was also perfect. Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, at that time, I discovered that all these people from Eastern Europe, they all had like this killer English. Like, I mean, my project was strong, but English skills wasn't, they weren't there yet. Yeah. So when
I mean, because it's really a thing. When you don't have the language skills, sometimes you seem like you're not skilled enough or you're not intelligent if you can't speak it in the language, in your target language, and it makes a really big difference to like be more fluent and more confident in your target language. So I understand.
I had similar moments like this when I thought that my English was very good compared to other Italian kids when traveling to like Ireland. But like in this situation where you like have money on the pot, like actual grants from professionals, that is very like a massive wake-up call. Because in my case, I was just a kid trying to talk to a bus driver in Dublin, not necessarily trying to get money for my stop motion project. So the stakes were not mega high. In your case, they were a lot higher, and I can't like begin to even imagine how you must have felt during that moment. Must have feeling insane.
Man, it was terrible. It was terrible, but it was very similar to what you've described, because like if I compared myself at that time with other Latin American people or people from, I don't know, Italy or Spain or France, like people tend to don't have like a too polished English. So I was able to speak, I was able to have like a philosophy bar conversation and talk about whatever I wanted at the time.
Okay.
Let's say, but yeah, then if you want to set, if the stakes are high and you need to sell something, that's a whole other level. If you have to convince people to give you money, that's a whole other level. So I discovered that, and after that competition, I realized like this can't happen to me again. I need to work in my English. I mean, it's good, but it's not good enough. So I came back to Argentina and I defined a way to practice. And after a while of like doing my research and putting some ideas down or whatever, I got to Tandem.
I'm still a massive believer that the secret to learning like language is very fast is to have a fantastic environment around you. I feel like that's why like Tandem, at least it's such a very interesting project, because it is a way where a lot of native speakers and people that are as crazy about learning languages as you are can get together in a safe place. And I think that's like the secret behind all of it. You can be behind your books and doing exercises all you want, but like if the rest of the support group that you have near you isn't up to par, like that's not gonna come soon enough. So going to native is the best way.
And
absolutely.
And you have told us so much now about your traveling, like in Europe and living in Argentina, in Chile. So after living in all of these places, like how do you feel your own cultural identity has developed?
Yeah, well, I think it has shifted a bit. I don't know. I still feel myself very Chilean, and also I call myself very like related to Chilean culture.
Okay.
You know, I would say that, yeah, I think the culture of the world through Chilean lenses, I would say. So I think in that way, I'm very Chilean, but at the same time, yeah, well, wherever you go, and especially if you have the opportunity to be living there for more than 2-3 months, it will impact on your self. It would have like a huge, something on you. And in Italy, I was living for a while. It was like 6 months or something. And I get to discover a new language. I get to discover some new people, new places, new food, new wine, new ways of, I don't know, entertain, or new music. It's like so many things that you discover when you're traveling. I am a big fan, of course. I've been since I'm a kid, I think. I had the opportunity to have some travels when I was a kid. So that had like a huge impact in my life. And then when I decided to be an artist, it's a bit what you do when you are trying to push your art or push your boundaries or your creation, or trying to find ways to produce what you do. It's something that you will do. You will have to travel the world. You'll have to find things, that inspire you, or people that could be your mentors. That would happen with Denmark at the time. So yeah, I would say that's something. At the time when I was back from Poland, I discovered Tandem, and I originally was going to practice my English, which I did. I would also practice some Italian here. Okay, so I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Italiano.
Yeah.
We switched languages here.
Ma possiamo anche parlare italiano?
No. For the people that don't know
Io
Italian.
adoro parlare in italiano, mi piace un sacco.
Anche io parlare in italiano, Patrizio, veramente, però mettere tutte le traduzioni nello schermo sarà un po' difficile. Poi la gente che ascolta su Spotify non capisce niente. For people that didn't know,
capito.
People that are listening from Spotify may not know what we said, so it's fine.
Yeah. I'd like some subtitles.
Yeah, they don't have that. I wish I added it, but...
And actually, we are also running a bit out of time. So we have some more minutes here. And that brings us a bit to the last question that we have for you.
Okay, it's fine.
If there was one thing that you would like to recommend to people from Chile, what would it be?
I would recommend people to come to, it depends on how much into city cultures you are. If you are into urban cultures and that, but I would recommend the city of Santiago. I think Santiago is a beautiful place. It has like such a spirit. There are so many things going on. You would be able to know lots of different people. There is like, I don't know, like a music scene that's very diverse and amazing. And Chilean people is very, they are nice. They're very friendly. And especially I would recommend you to go for some drinks and get to know random people, around the city of Santiago. You would find very nice people, and you would get to be friends within one night, because that's something that we Chilean people do. They would be yours forever.
Oh, wow.
If you spend one night, it's very hard with
one beer, maybe a little bit more than a beer, like one night, one bar, and you make your friends forever. And I think those are like beautiful words that we can add this episode. Thank you so much, Patricio, for being with us. Thank you for being with us. And if there's a little bit of a project or like a current place that you would like to shout out, this is the perfect time. I will put the link in the description for people that are listening to the channel, like your music, for example.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I would love if anybody is curious about what I'm doing, for them, and especially because this is in English, for them to check out my song called Sun-Kissed Skin. It's a song. I'm very proud of the song. I would love you to check out on my songs. Yeah, I'm very proud of them as well.
Yeah, they're very cute. But again, thank you so much, Patricio, for coming in. And thank you all for watching this amazing episode of the Connected by Language podcast. If you enjoyed your time, leave a like, subscribe, comment, the shebang. No matter where you are, if you're on Spotify, Apple, just follow us for a new amazing content all around the world. But I have been your host, Michele, and I've been joined by my co-host,
Michelle,
and Patricio. And we would like to say, see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.